If it's been months or even years and you're still dealing with corn induced ED, there's something not clicking. And this isn't about time, it's about what you're doing day to day that's either helping you heal or keeping you stuck. Now, number one, you're not fully off the corn, right? So you have things like edging, relapsing, or even scrolling, which keeps which keeps your brain wired, right, the same way. So you got to think of it like you got some wires, and basically what you've done is you've kind of crossed your wires in a way that's not ideal to the output that you want, right? You kind of want to be on point with things, you know what I'm saying? You always want to be rock solid in that area, especially when intimacy and things of that nature, right? And what happens is you put your brain in a certain configuration that when you get in that mode, a lot of times you're questioning yourself, right? Because you didn't prepare it correctly, right? You didn't take the actions, you didn't have the right habits that would get you the type of outcome, right? And they say there's a famous saying about if you fail to prepare, one of those types of sayings, basically, right? And that's what you've done. You failed to prepare it correctly. And really, what you need to focus on, right, is getting number one down, which is just right. You want. There's basically constants and variables, right? This is not a variable you want to play with in this equation, right? You want to make sure that this is one of those things that boom, you get it squared away. So okay, I can move to the next variable of the equation, right? Because then the equation is okay for you to get aroused, be on point around women, right? And how and you have all these different variables. You have, you know, what you watch, your habits, your eating, your sleep, all these different things. And how can you control this, right? If you keep messing with the equation. So number one, you gotta get that habit on point, right? You have to lower your level of dopamine and stimulation so that it's even, right? You don't have these different spikes, and it just helps you appreciate, right, the shorties out there, right? Simple as that, right? And then next, you're not changing your inputs, right? So you gotta think about it like this, right? If you're trying to figure out this equation, only a crazy person would do the same thing and expect a different result, right? So odds are you're probably still scrolling the explore page, you're checking out comments, you're on Reddit, on Twitter, all these different places, which what do? They they pretty much trigger those old pathways, right? So you got the old pathways and you got the new pathways. Think of about it like a balance, right? When you keep going back to the your old ways, the balance is tilted, right? It's tilting in the direction that you don't want to go to, and that's the easiest way to put it, right? This is not the outcome that you want. If you want the outcome over here, you've got to change the equation, make the tilt, and it's going to make it that much easier for you, right? So you really have to look at the inputs, what you're taking into your eyes, your ears, what you're listening to, what you're eating, your environment as a whole. Like there's multiple factors to this, right? Are you getting exercise, right? A ton of different things, but you really have to take accountability and inventory of each of these different areas so that you can build that equation of success for you, right? Because not everyone is technically all the same, but in my opinion, there is a formula that if you've been at one spot and you're trying to get to another spot and someone has achieved it that was in the same exact situation you are, aka your boy, you may want to listen to them a little bit. And again, right, if you can't change those inputs, right, and of course get off the corn, you're gonna find yourself in the same place like a lot of you still are. And to be honest, at one point, I didn't think it was even really possible. I thought people were just capping about this thing. But as I've seen the other side, it's 100% possible, right? 100%. You're not replacing the habit. So I talked about this in another video, but just trying to quit is not enough, right? You got to have something else you're doing, right? Have some sort of goal. As a man, you should be focused on trying to improve your life, right? Whether you're trying to get a new job, you're trying to get a new promotion, maybe you're, you know, software engineer, you're doing all of those things. You have to focus on, the new routine, right? Focus on where you're going and not where you're coming from. So, if it's to build a better physique, man, focus on getting outside, being around more people. Like, you need to be all in about this. Like, this isn't something that you can just, tiptoe around, right? You have to be able to take inventory and look at your habits, right? Because new habits equals new wiring. Old habits equals old wiring. So don't don't think that you can just keep the same sort of, people environment around you and that things are gonna stay this. Things are gonna change. Because only a crazy person, right? Again, would do the same thing and expect a different result, which is not what you're trying to do. So keep that in mind. You're not going all in. Now, treating this thing like it's a side mission, you got to remember, right? You only have a set years in your life, right? Your life is only a certain amount of time. And probably for a decent amount of those years, you've been stuck in that same exact place that you've been before, right? And there's a lot of pain associated with that. And the reason, right, there's pain is because you want to see growth in your life, whether that's financially or relationships, health, wealth, relationships, all those three areas. But if you're not in control of your time, attention, and energy, which are the three pieces of the equation that allow you to change, to make any significant change in your life, it's going to be that much harder to make progress anywhere, right? If you think, okay, let's say relationship wise, okay, that's a problem, constrain the relationship. If you can't perform, you're cooked. You're cooked. Shodi is not, your partner is probably not going to stay around because of that, right? And there are certain things a lot of times that you have to deal with on your own, right? To make you solid in that point. And unfortunately, then there are other options out there, other people that don't have those types of problems. So you got to keep that in mind, right? Then you think wealth, right? Do you know how hard it is to focus? And you probably do if you're watching this, to focus, make money online, make a business, maybe work your job, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're interested in doing. How can you do that, right? If you can't even control your time, if you got to put overtime at work, how can you even do this, right? How can you spend all of this time when you know that you have this area of compromise that's just killing your time and you're getting no benefit from it? You literally get no benefit. You can only lose, right? You only lose if you relapse. There's no benefit from it. And you could argue, yeah, you stress reliever or something like that. Man, maybe you can argue without the corn, but with the corn, man, there's no argument there. There's really nothing. Only you're literally just doing a habit that's making things worse for you, and you get the brain fog after. You can't think straight. It's not gonna work, right? And then health wise too, it's just not healthy. I mean, your screen time is 12 plus hours. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for your eyes, for your mind, all of those things, right? So you really got to look at it. And if you're not going all in, right, you only get one shot at this, right? And that's the toughest part because the time that you're stuck, you're kind of in limbo, right? You're having these performance problems. It's going to make it, you get even that much less time, right? To either it's find a partner or kind of gain that experience that you want within the field, right? So you got to remember, you only have a finite amount of time, and the longer you delay that area, right, that weak area for you, man, I mean, you don't get that time back. It's as simple as that, right? So you really need to treat it as a priority, and it can't be something that's pushed off to the side, right? Because what you don't prioritize, the problem is only going to grow. So maybe earlier on it wasn't that huge of a problem, right? But as time goes on, when maybe it's time to, you know, find a wife, get married, have kids, right? What happens? The problem gets bigger and bigger, and because you've been ignoring it for all of this time, it's going to make it that much harder, right? So it's better that you go all in now, fix your problem, and then you're chilling. You can do whatever you want to do, right? You have that time, energy, and attention. And it's not to say that you're automatically going to be successful, but at least you have a much better shot at it. You can think, and connect the dots from A to B versus running around like a dopamine addicted rat, right? So now if you're dealing with this, porn induced ED and you want to fix it for good, click the link below, book a free call. Let's see how I can help you. Stop wasting time. Stop, letting yourself, your family, people around you down. Man, reach your full potential. Take your time, energy, and attention back. Don't disrespect yourself. Take yourself seriously. You got one life. Click the link down below. Book the call.